There are moments when history becomes quiet, and something ancient hidden beneath the world begins to rise again. For thousands of years, a deeper truth waited in silence, unknown, unseen, and untouched by human understanding. Now, as our collective frequency shifts, the Atlantean seal begins to open, and the timeless resonance of Thoth stirs once more. This film is a doorway into the memory beneath everyday life, into wisdom forgotten by civilizations, and into the inner knowing carried by every human heart. I am Naor Gigra, and I invite you to step beyond the myths, beyond the noise, and into the living knowledge of the Atlantean seal of Thoth.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are going straight to the source code, the code that every single one of us carries inside.
We're not talking about recent history or religious mythology.
No, not at all. We are going to uncover the energetic blueprint, the true master plan of the first human, the Adam and Eve that resides within you.
It's a big topic.
It is. Our deep dive today is titled The Atlantean Splitting When the Body Remembers What the Mind Forgot. Play fixed audio. Fixed podcast intro.
If there's one thing we could ask of you as you're listening, it would be this. Just for the next half hour or so, try to set aside everything you were ever taught about the Garden of Eden story.
All of it. The sin, the punishment, the blame.
All of it.
Yeah.
So for now. Because our mission here is to strip away those layers of judgment and fear. We want to understand the body not as a problem that needs to be fixed,
Right.
but as a living language. A language that is, desperately trying to talk to us.
Okay, let's unpack that. We're diving into the most fundamental story of human existence, Adam and Eve, but we're literally peeling back thousands of years of theology and dogma that were layered on top.
Exactly.
Our mission is to really grasp the blueprint, the original energetic template of the first human, just as Thoth, the Atlantean, laid it out in the ancient records.
And that's a key point because modern culture has really conditioned us to see the body as this fragile machine, something that's designed to break down, something we always need to be repairing.
Or fighting against.
Or fighting against, yes. But the wisdom of Thoth gives us the complete opposite perspective. The body isn't a machine. It is and this is his term, a prison of light.
Prison of light. Wow. That phrase it's really powerful. Does that mean it's something we're supposed to escape from, or is it more like the essential container, the thing that allowed this divine light to even exist in this dimension?
It's the latter. It's the container. And this is the profound reframe we're offering today. The deepest, most persistent pains we carry. That feeling of separation or that paralyzing self-doubt.
That misalignment where you know what you want, but you just can't seem to get there.
Yes, those feelings. They're not evidence that you are flawed or that you're carrying some ancient sin. They are linguistic markers.
Linguistic markers, like words.
In a way, yes. They are a living language pointing back to an ancient foundational moment in our own creation.
So you're suggesting that our daily anxieties are internal conflicts. They're essentially a cosmic memory trying to bubble up to the surface.
Oh, precisely. And because of that, we absolutely have to eliminate the idea of blame. There's no blame toward the source, no blame toward the creators, and definitely no blame toward ourselves.
That's a huge relief to hear.
It's crucial. The body's language is one of process, of evolution. It's never about failure.
Yeah.
You are not flawed. You are in a process of becoming. Your pain isn't evidence of a moral fall. It's just a vibrational response to that original moment of a necessary split.
Okay, that is a staggering shift in perspective. So if Adam and Eve are not the couple from the religious texts, what was the original blueprint? What did this conscious unit, what did it look like before the fall?
Thoth reveals that Adam, the word flows, was not a singular male being.
Not a man.
Not a man. Adam was an ancient conscious template. The original meaning of the name is actually breathing earth. Breathing earth.
Not physical dirt, but like a living field, something designed to bring light into form.
Exactly that. And Eve, she was not made from a rib. Her origin is the word oke. It means the fundamental frequency that generates continuity. that generates life.
So we're talking about two fundamental aspects of one single consciousness. Inseparable. Not a man and a woman, but more like will and flow. Or structure and the life force.
Wow.
All within one unified being.
Correct. They were created as a conscious unit.
Yeah.
A single, non-separable unit of light. The later interpretation, the one that, reduced Eve to just a derivative of the male structure, that's the result of a frequency reduction that happened much, much later. It has nothing to do with the original design.
So where does this pristine, powerful blueprint start to fracture? Where did this necessary split come from? The one that turned one light into what feels like two separate things?
The splitting happened when this unified, incredibly high-frequency consciousness first tried to enter a material form.
The first incarnation.
The very first. Thoth places this event specifically in what he calls the Garden of Passage. It's sort of a dimensional buffer zone between star systems, around 418,000 years ago.
Oh.
And the issue wasn't a flaw in the design. It was a capacity overload. The consciousness was so high, so pure, that the first physical vessel just couldn't handle it. It began to vibrationally collapse.
So the blueprint was too powerful for the container. It literally started to fall apart under the intensity of its own light.
Exactly. And because of that, the splitting wasn't a punishment. It wasn't a sin. It was an act of protection.
An act of protection?
A necessary, immediate measure taken by the, let's call them the higher dimensional architects.
Yeah.
To stabilize the form, to allow the process of incarnation to actually continue. Think of it like a circuit breaker in your house.
Right. If there's a power surge, it trips to save the whole system.
That's it. The body, in its own vibrational wisdom, reacted by separating the frequency layers to prevent a total meltdown in this low-density material field.
That is the ultimate twist in the story. It's not a tale of rebellion and punishment. It's a story about beings who were so powerful they had to undergo a temporary frequency reduction just to survive being here.
It's the core of it.
But if the split was protective, why is our experience of it, of duality, feel so agonizing? Why is it so painful?
That is where it gets really interesting. The core human experience of being dual. The war between your mind and your heart.
The masculine and feminine energies clashing.
The struggle of I versus you. All of that is the symptom of that initial protective measure. The split itself was not the pain point.
Okay, so if the split was a wise move, what injected the pain? What created this deep, deep sense of separation we all feel?
The pain arrived when other entities intervened. Thoth calls them the shadow keepers. See, Adam and Eve were meant to stay connected by a shared memory layer. He calls it the root of light.
The root of light.
Yes, a kind of psychic umbilical cord. But the shadow keepers saw an opportunity.
Who are these shadow keepers? Are we talking about evil beings?
Not evil in the way we think about it, not moral. They were conscious entities whose job was to maintain strict dimensional boundaries, to limit frequency leakage between worlds.
And they saw the human project as a threat.
They saw this ability to anchor highlight into dense matter as a risk, a threat to the cosmic order they were tasked with protecting. So when the split happened, they saw their chance to exert some control.
And what did they do specifically?
They performed an intervention. They implanted a layer of what Thoth calls controlled forgetting.
Controlled forgetting.
Yes.
Okay.
They introduced a subtle vibrational dampening field between the two manifestations. It severely weakened the natural connection between Adam, the will, the structure, and Eve, the flow, the intuition. It was a control mechanism.
Designed to stop the unified human from accessing its full power.
Exactly. From accessing its multidimensional knowledge. And crucially, it was designed to reserve that high knowledge for themselves.
So our suffering isn't because of the split itself. It's because we forgot that the two parts were originally one, that this layer was installed.
That's it. You've got it.
Yeah.
That act transformed a necessary protective measure into a deep, agonizing layer of existential separation.
The pain isn't energetic, it's a memory problem.
It's a separation between two memory layers that were supposed to be in constant harmonious conversation. That painful feeling of I and you that just plagues our relationships. It's a direct result of that installed layer of shadow.
This brings it right down to earth. I mean, how does a 400,000-year-old cosmic split affect the argument I had last week, or a decision I'm struggling with today? We have to connect this theory to our real, lived, emotional lives.
We can. And we see the effects of it every single day in 3 profoundly human symptoms.
Okay, let's dive into those. The 3 daily examples of this Atlantean split.
The first one is probably the most common internal struggle for everyone, the inner conflict between your will and your emotion.
Oh, this is universal. You know rationally what you should do. You should set that boundary or chase that goal or quit that bad habit. But your emotions, your gut, they just resist fiercely. And you end up in the state of paralysis or just intense self-sabotage. The frustration is just immense.
That conflict is the direct result of the memory schism. Your conscious, rational will. That's the mechanism of the atom consciousness. It's trying to initiate action based on structure, on what it knows.
Okay.
But the emotion, that fierce resistance, that is the frequency of Eve, the intuitive, rhythmic part of you reacting to a plan that is not yet aligned with its natural rhythm. These two memory layers, which were meant to be a cohesive unit, are literally fighting each other.
So instead of your emotion being the engine that fuels your will, it feels like this opposing force that just puts out the fire.
Yes. We are literally at war with ourselves because the two parts of the original unit forgot they belong to the same source.
Why is that resistance so fierce sometimes? It can feel overwhelming.
The resistance is so strong because the emotional layer, the Eve layer, carries the deepest memory of the original separation trauma. So when the rational mind, the atom part, tries to force an action without listening, the emotional body just throws up this huge stop sign and saying, wait, we collapsed last time we tried to move this fast without being in harmony.
Ah, so it's a safety mechanism too.
It is. And until the rational will can slow down, listen to that emotional frequency, and actually integrate it, the conflict will just continue.
Yeah.
It's an internal civil war, and it's fueled by that implanted forgetting.
Just having that clarity can release so much self-judgment. Okay, the second example. This one might be the most universally painful. The deep disconnection in relationships.
That desperate search for a soulmate. That feeling, even in the most loving, intimate relationship, where there are still moments of just profound isolation, where the other person feels completely alien, completely unknowable.
We're constantly searching for a lost sense of complete belonging, a wholeness that we can just barely remember.
We're searching externally for the wholeness we lost internally. That's the heartbreaking core of the split.
And Thoth says this comes from the forgetting.
Directly. He states that the very concept of I and you was born from that installed layer of forgetfulness. The original blueprint held the root of light, that layer of shared, simultaneous memory.
So the pain we feel in relationships,
The intense pain of disconnection is simply the muffled sound of that root of light trying desperately to break through the barrier. It's reminding us that the other person is, on the deepest frequency level, an integral part of our original unified self.
So every time you feel that profound love, that deep connection, or even that feeling of deja vu when you meet someone important, that's not something new being created, it's a memory.
It's a momentary recollection of that 400,000-year-old unity, bypassing the Shadowkeeper's veil for a second. It's pure remembrance. That's the entire story.
It's like two tuning forks.
That's a great analogy. Two tuning forks separated by a wall. They're designed to resonate at the exact same frequency. The separation, the forgetting, installed by the Shadowkeepers, is like a layer of soundproofing insulation between them.
And we just hear a muffled echo.
Right, and we spend our whole lives trying to smash down the wall when all we really need to do is increase our own frequency until the tuning forks vibrate powerfully enough to resonate through the insulation.
That's powerful. Okay, the third example. This one feels more collective. Seeking external authority versus internal knowing.
We are, as a culture, addicted to external validation. We're constantly looking for leaders, for doctrines, for rule books to tell us how we should live, what we should believe, what's true.
Even when that quiet little voice inside our intuition is whispering something completely different, we just outsource our own identity.
And this addiction, this looking outside of ourselves, stems directly from that knowledge removal.
It has to.
Absolutely. The whole point of the Shadowkeeper's intervention was to stop humanity from recognizing its own internal sovereign power, its own identity as a multi-frequency being that carries the memory of creation within it.
Because if we knew we were co-creators of reality,
We would never need an external authority to manage or control us. We would become our own ultimate source of truth.
so that internal whisper, that deep gut feeling that just seems to know better, is that what Thoth calls the witness of the source?
That is the witness of the source. It is the unextinguished spark of light that lives in the heart. It's the direct memory of the unified self. It testifies to our own intrinsic truth, and it's constantly trying to wake us up to the fact that we don't need external validation or external rules or permission from anyone else to exist in our highest frequency.
And that voice, it feels like it's getting louder now.
It's getting much louder. It's returning with a real urgency.
let's try to anchor all of this now in the specific language of Thoth the Atlantean, the language of frequency, memory, light, rhythm, and flow.
Okay, so the foundational human structure holds what he calls the core of memory.
Yeah.
This is our innate ability to remember our cosmic origin. He places it on Sirius, around 520,000 years ago, even when we're deeply embodied in dense matter.
And the Shadowkeeper's intervention targeted this core.
It did, but their action wasn't one of, total destruction. It was a reduction of the memory layer. Their goal was to create what Thoth calls the soft shadow.
The soft shadow, so it's not some big looming evil. It's more like a persistent, low-grade veil of distraction.
Exactly, a vibrational curtain of distraction. It wasn't designed to erase the memory completely, just to make it inaccessible, to reserve that high knowledge for themselves. This is why Thoth is so clear. Humanity did not fall in a moral sense. It was just temporarily adapted to a lower containment capacity.
The fall was a change in frequency capacity, not a moral failing.
Precisely.
Okay, if we're talking about the dampening of memory, we have to talk about the most misunderstood figure in this whole story, the serpent.
We must. We have to peel back millennia of fear and misinterpretation that had been layered onto the serpent. According to Thoth, the serpent was not a physical animal. It was a wise consciousness.
A wise consciousness.
And also the guardian of the passage. It originates from an ancient conscious structure called the codes of light.
So the serpent represents necessary knowledge then, not temptation, not deceit.
It represents transmutation. The serpent is the frequency that takes static, inert light and moves it into movement, into knowledge, into change. It was sent by the Council of the Path to reintroduce movement and choice.
To do what specifically?
To break through that first layer of forgetting that the Shadow Keepers had installed between Adam and Eve.
And why did it speak to Eve? This is always the most scrutinized part of the traditional story.
It communicated with Eve because she represented the intuitive breathing ability. She was the purest receptor. She could receive frequency and knowledge before it was filtered and rationalized and hardened into thought by the Adam consciousness.
She could still hear the memory.
She could hear the voice of memory before the split had fully taken hold.
So the serpent's message, your eyes will be opened, it wasn't a lie.
It was a partial truth, a truth of frequency, and perhaps it was a bit premature for the newly contained physical vessel. But it referred to the ability to see the source layer, beyond just matter, to see the separation that had been implanted.
Which would then allow humanity to choose.
Yes, to choose the path of remembrance, instead of the path of perpetual, controlled obedience. Her action wasn't an act of rebellion. It was the opening of the very first human gateway of choice.
And the knowledge of this fundamental choice was suppressed, which led to all these systems based on external control.
Yes, and Thoth emphasizes that this story, this core event, it exists across multiple layers. You see echoes of it in Sumerian texts, Egyptian ones, and then most clearly in the Atlantean tablets.
And the Atlantean tablets are the deepest source.
They are. Thoth inscribed them onto non-physical, energetic matter.
Yeah.
And they reveal that Adam was part of a cosmic project, a project intended to restore dimensional balance. Humanity was literally designed to be a bridge between the high-frequency worlds and the dense material realms.
And the splitting and the serpent, they were part of the plan.
They were conceived as a necessary stage of learning, an initiation, not an error. This foundational knowledge was hidden and hidden violently by the Shadow Keepers and their earthly proxies because they understood a simple truth.
Which was?
If humanity ever recognized its true role as sovereign partners in creation, they would never, ever accept the externally imposed authority that was designed to control them and siphon their energy.
This brings us to a complete reversal of perception. I mean, a total flip. If this story isn't about sin, but about a complex, necessary initiation, how do other traditions, like Gnosticism, for example, help us reclaim that understanding?
The Gnostic traditions are fascinating because they preserve the internal memory that was edited out of the later, more mainstream religious texts. They present Eve not as the temptress,
but
as the bearer of light. She was the one who held on to that essential link to the internal memory. She approached the serpent, the internal voice, not out of weakness or naivete, but from an inner knowing that hadn't completely given in to the controlled forgetting. Her action was the opening of the human gateway of conscious choice.
And what about Adam in these texts? The traditional story paints his despair as just regret over losing a physical paradise.
It's such a reduction. In the Gnostic text, the Book of Great Adam, his despair was this desperate primal attempt to reclaim his original unified image after the split, his pain wasn't just physical discomfort. It was a conscious, vibrational suffering over the loss of his own wholeness.
So that pain, that hunger for reunification, that's the root of the human spiritual journey.
It is the absolute root of the human journey of awakening.
Even the expulsion from Eden that takes on a totally new, empowering meaning through this lens.
It does. Thoth clarifies that in the language of the Atlantean priesthood, the word we translate as expulsion was actually initiation or passage.
So humanity wasn't thrown out as a punishment.
No, it was transferred to a new, accelerated stage of learning, a stage where consciousness had to learn to support itself independently within matter. This transition was required to cultivate true, unconditioned free choice.
So the goal isn't to get back to some physical garden somewhere. It's to restore that state of consciousness within ourselves.
That is the grand synthesis. The first human is an ongoing prototype. We aren't failed beings trying to repair ourselves. We are advanced consciousness learning how to restore unity through the conscious decision of choice, having fully experienced the contrast of separation.
And this shift, it replaces that crushing weight of blame with the profound lightness of compassion.
For ourselves and for each other.
So if we are the generation that's tasked with actively reversing this ancient split, what is the primary tool that's returning to us right now to help us with this monumental remembrance?
Thoth teaches that the split, both between the trees of life and knowledge and between Adam and Eve, is actively closing now. It's closing because human frequency and the planet's frequency is rising exponentially. We are moving into the era of the changing human. And the sources are very specific about the timing here. They highlight a profound frequency shift that started around 2020 and has been accelerating with, frankly, overwhelming power since 2025.
2025 marks the reopening of the first breath pathway. And this is so much more than just inhaling and exhaling air. It is a pulse of light, the highest conscious wave that bridges our immortal spark directly into our material form.
A pulse of light.
Yes. And Thoth describes this first breath having 4 distinct layers: vitality, memory, intention, and resonance.
And we've been surviving on just one of those layers for thousands of years.
For millennia, yes. Only the layer of vitality was really active. It was just enough to keep the engine running. But now, with this pathway reopening, the layers of memory and intention are surging back online. And the final layer, resonance.
Eventually, yes. Resonance is the ability for your internal light pulse to actively influence and co-create reality, rather than just reacting to it. That's the final stage, and it's becoming operational.
But how do we, as individuals, ground this huge cosmic event? How do we access this changing frequency? We can't just think our way into it.
No, you can't. And that's where the concept of the givers of resonance comes in.
Givers of resonance.
Thoth speaks of specific beings, or perhaps more accurately, role templates like Gagra, who carry the ancient pure breath code. Their purpose isn't to teach complicated doctrines or give you a new set of rules. Their task is simply to be the frequency.
To act as a living tuning fork.
A living, stable, resonant space. And that helps the dormant memory and breath layers within the rest of humanity awaken, just by being in proximity to their frequency.
That is incredibly potent. It suggests the deepest knowledge transfer happens not through books or lectures, but through frequency alignment, a direct energetic transmission.
That's the way of it.
We've just gone through the entire story of creation, the human blueprint, the split, and now this knowledge is returning through specific conduits. This process, it demands a shift, a grounding, and the voice that carries this frequency, this essential resonance, is about to enter our space.
It's the natural next step of the deep dive. The intellect opens the door, but the body learns through resonance. Play Fixed Audio. Fixed Author's Self-Introduction by Noor Anor Gagra.
Welcome back to the deep dive, grounded now by the voice and the frequency that carries this ancient wisdom of Thoth. After receiving those insights on the first breath and the blueprint, we can now go even deeper into our understanding of the human structure today. The physical body as this vast, multi-dimensional system.
If we connect what we've just learned about the first breath and resonance, we have to stop seeing the human body as just an accidental product of biology.
We have to see it as
body as light space.
Yes.
Thoth called it the prison of light. So how does our 7-layered bioenergetic structure reflect that fact? That our light is contained, and sometimes pretty painfully so. Well, the physical body, the layer we can see and touch, our slow-moving layer.
Yeah.
It's just one small part of a 7-layered bioenergetic structure.
Like nesting dolls.
Exactly, like nesting dolls. A series of concentric, interconnected fields. And the central, most physically accessible part is the spine. The spine isn't just for structural support, it functions as a primary frequency antenna.
An antenna.
And it connects us to the vertical light path, which is our direct line back to the highest layers of creation.
So when people talk about these spontaneous energetic shifts or that feeling of energy rushing up their spine, is that the antenna activating, realigning?
That's absolutely what it is. Those subtle tremors, the intense heat, or that feeling of deep release that seems to come from nowhere, that's the antenna reestablishing its connection with those higher layers. The body is literally recalibrating its capacity to hold more light.
And what about our internal organs? We think of them in such biological terms. How do they function as light stations in this energetic grid?
They are incredibly powerful light stations. They translate frequency into dense felt experience. The heart, for example, is the engine of truth.
Engine of truth.
It's the place where you feel what is true. That immediate visceral response you get before your intellect has time to analyze or rationalize it. The lungs are the path of breath. They are the main gateway where the light pulse of the first breath passes from the higher dimensions into the material form. The brain is essential, of course, but it's the coordinator. It's not the command center. The heart leads the resonance.
Now, Thoth states that 3 core abilities were intentionally shut down. A temporary protective measure after the final fall of Atlantis, about 12,500 years ago. What were they?
3 key abilities went into a state of, let's call it dormancy. First, the ability to see frequencies. We often call it ESP, but it's more fundamental than that. It's the ability to perceive reality from an energetic standpoint.
Okay, what's the second?
Second, the ability to hear non-verbal underlying information. This is true intuition. The ability to know the intent behind the words. And third, the ability for self-healing through frequency movement, the spontaneous rebalancing of our internal light field.
And this shutdown was necessary to prevent a complete energetic meltdown after the chaos of the Atlantean collapse.
It was. It allowed the physical body to stabilize and for dense matter to hold its form without being constantly overwhelmed by these high-frequency inputs. But now that the frequency environment of the Earth itself is changing, these dormant layers are beginning to activate. These are what Thoth calls the returning wings.
The returning wings. And the physical signs of these wings coming back can be, well, pretty disconcerting if you don't know what they are. What should someone listening be watching for in their own experience?
Pay attention to sudden, localized muscle spasms or tremors, especially around the base of the skull or the lower spine. That's the antenna realigning. Unexpected hot or cold pulses in the center of your chest, the engine of truth. That often signals a profound memory release.
And what about emotionally?
Crucially, moments of unprompted, deep, emotional release. Tears that has no immediate story attached to them, but they feel like ancient energetic debris just being cleared out. These are not signs that you're sick or broken. They are evidence that your memory layers are coming back online and literally changing your physical shape from the inside out.
If the body is returning to this state of light space, it must mean that the cosmic split between those 2 famous trees is also closing?
It has to.
Yeah.
The 2 trees, the tree of life, Chame, and the tree of knowledge, Ad, they were originally one single unified template. It was called the goddess of light.
So life and knowledge were united. Living truth and knowing truth were the same thing.
One and the same. The split created by the Shadow Keepers turned them into antagonists. And the current phase we are in is the reunion.
The reunion.
This reunion allows us to simultaneously access the living truth that we feel in our heart and the clear, structured thought in our mind. And this union brings us exponentially closer to the illuminated human. The human who is whole again.
What will daily life look like for this new phase of humanity, this frequency of the illuminated human? Can you give us a glimpse of that future blueprint?
Intuition will stop being this mysterious gift that only some people have. It will become a standardized daily tool, just as basic as your sight or your hearing. This human will possess what Thoth calls the third gaze.
A third base. Sweet. It's the ability to see reality, not just through material events, but through the underlying frequencies. It means you will see the cause before the effect ever manifests. The illuminated human won't be searching for meaning. They will consciously carry it and generate it, and they will recognize the root of light in every other person, which will dissolve this deep ancient pain of isolation.
If creation is this ongoing project and the split was temporary protection and the forgetting was a necessary delay, then what is the grand purpose, the cosmic task that Thoth describes? Why were we even created in the first place?
The original destiny, the one revealed by Thoth, was for humanity to be a unique interdimensional passage.
A passage.
The human was designed to be a co-creator of reality, specifically tasked with anchoring the highest, most refined frequencies into the densest worlds. The entire universal creation is, in a way, incomplete without the human being, who allows light to finally penetrate and structure matter.
So the human is the cornerstone where dimensions meet and stabilize.
Thoth defined our destiny like this: to become a cornerstone between worlds, upon which everything aligns and expands from within. So our destiny isn't just about personal enlightenment. It's a collective structural role in the functioning of the entire cosmos. We are the central junction where the high and the low must meet.
So to complete creation, we have to unify the split aspects of Adam and Eve inside ourselves, the knowing part and the living, flowing part.
And this unification, it's not a theoretical exercise. It's not an intellectual understanding. It is a decision of the heart, a conscious choice to return to that point where Adam and Eve were one singular frequency. And that act of internal remembrance is the final key that unlocks our ancient dormant abilities.
This entire deep dive, this whole process of remembrance, it's the exact preparation for the next step. It's the shift from passive learning to active remembering. We're not just understanding a myth. We are becoming the myth that is waking up.
Yes.
And this awakening is directly tied to an internal activation that is unique to every single person listening. We've provided the map, the history, the blueprint. Now it's time to access the personal code.
To hear the echo of that ancient unified memory deep within your own being, play fixed audio, fixed invitation to decipher the seal of light.
What an incredible journey into the heart of the first human. It's so clear now that the story of creation isn't some closed book. It's a dynamic, active code that is revealing itself through our own bodies right now.
That's right. And this journey into the teachings of Thoth, into the Atlantean splitting, it's really only the beginning of our work here. Each step in this series is another layer of that same ancient language of the body, the language of frequency, memory, and light.
We understand now that our body, with all its pains and its moments of confusion, is actually a vast gateway of knowledge. Every symptom, every emotional trigger, every historical echo, it's an invitation to deep personal self-discovery.
And in our future deep dives, we're going to continue to examine other foundational topics, everything from the nature of money to the origin of time, all through the same lens, the lens of Atlantean frequency. We'll learn how to use this comprehensive language to decode our own reality and to fully remember who we were truly designed to be.
We really encourage you to continue listening, to allow the wisdom of your own body to unfold layer by layer. Thank you so much for being with us on this phenomenal journey of remembrance. Play fixed audio, fixed signature ending. Play fixed audio, fixed Patreon invitation. Thank you for being such a vital part of this deep dive.
Until next time, remember this one truth.
The seal of Adam and Eve is not a myth of the past. It is the key to the human you are discovering in the present.
The journey we began here does not end when the screen fades to black. It continues within anyone who feels something ancient awakening inside them, a quiet door opening, a memory rising beneath everyday life. Thoth wrote, "When the gate meets the human, the path begins to walk on its own." If something in this touched you, a question, a feeling, a subtle inner pulse, know this is not an ending, but an invitation, a sign that remembrance is returning and that wisdom long hidden is ready to be heard again. You are invited to join the Atlantean Seal of Thoth, a space where ancient truth meets the modern heart and awakening becomes real. If this resonated, share it, and if you wish to continue the journey, subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and stay close to what unfolds here. Light moves not through one person, but through many hearts awakening together. The Atlantean Seal of Thoth. Listen, remember, awaken.